Hey everyone, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review and be sure to follow. Okay, folks, big day for Bitcoin. We pumped all the way up to $78,000. Right now, at the time of recording, we are at $77,215. So the relief rally continues. This is what we've been talking about for over a month, right, guys? And yes, it has taken time to play out. Yes, there have been fake outs due to the whole Iran war situation and the Strait of Hormuz. It's open, it's not open, right? It's just been crazy news coming out from that. So you had a lot of macro factors weighing on the markets, but we have confirmation here that we're going a bit higher. My base case, as many of you know, has been a move to about 80K or so before we roll over. Now, we could potentially roll over to 50K. I know some people I see in the comments are like, "You're a clown. Why are you saying 50K?" And then there's some people saying, "You're a clown. It's going to go higher," right? People want their bias. They want the confirmation of their bias. But nobody knows the future. We don't have a crystal ball. So we're going to look at different scenarios. One of the things I talked about is we could overshoot 80K and go up to 90 before rolling over. And my hope is maybe we retest the lows of 58K or 60K, but there's potential for us to go to 52, 54. A lot of people don't want to hear that, right? But there is that potential there. You can't rule it out. There are some people saying we can go to 40K. I don't believe we're going to that level because we were in extreme oversold levels on the daily and weekly chart. So I don't think we're going to go that low, but there could be a retest where we flash crash down, it wicks down to the 50, low 50Ks and then right back up, right? So these are things to keep in mind. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know what's going to have happen exactly next, but I can look at the charts, I can look at the macro factors and say, here's what I think, here's my thesis. Nevertheless, I am bullish long term, and I'm certainly accumulating altcoins at these lows and dollar cost averaging in, right? So I'm not executing all my dry powder, but I'm starting to add. And let's see how far this relief rally takes us, folks. And right now, the daily chart shows Bitcoin's RSI is approaching the overbought zone. So don't be surprised if we shoot up to 80K, then we have that correction. And again, it could go higher, but we're going to have to wait and see. The MACD shows that the bulls are still in control. They're in firm control here on the daily chart, and there isn't any exhaustion yet. So we're going to continue to monitor this. The other factor is on the weekly chart, we're seeing very good signs, as I've been highlighting. RSI moving away from the oversold zone. It is nowhere near the overbought zone. The MACD flipped bullish, and this is like since September of 2025. So really, really good. We got that bullish cross here in the MACD on the weekly. This is a very, very positive sign, guys. So let's hope we can go as high as possible because we know all coins will follow Bitcoin. And with all this pumping that's happening for Bitcoin, we got a lot of shorts getting liquidated. So bears getting wrecked, over $400 million of shorts liquidated today. I've been posting on X, trolling some of these bears, right? They're getting very, very greedy. Some of them were calling for 20K and much more. It's like just ridiculous, but a lot of them getting wrecked, which is good. And something to note about Bitcoin continuing to move higher, there is a CME gap, it looks like between 80 to 84,000. So again, this adds to the thesis that we could potentially go higher. So we're going to have to watch it closely. And I'll be taking a little bit of profit here, nothing major. I still have the majority of my Bitcoin holdings, and I'm prepared to hold even to the end of the year next year as we start to hit new all-time highs. I'm not in a position where I absolutely need the money, right? And I'm in this for the long term, and my portfolio is up significantly since I've been accumulating, since 2017 and in the bear market of 2018 and 2019 and obviously 2022 as well. So I have coins going back to that point that are up. I could cash out right now and I'll be in a profit, but I'm looking to make as much returns as possible. Some of this money looking to put in retirement and much more. So that's, my financial situation. Obviously, do what's best for you. The other thing I highlighted the other day, but just to remind you all, the next major fib target is the 1.272, which would be about $79,000, and above that, the 1.618, which would be around $83,000. So again, you got the CME gap, you got the fib levels here. So we could potentially go higher, folks. So this is where let's watch it closely. One good sign, the S&P 500 is ripping. It is ripping. Man, this move is so aggressive. If you look at the S&P 500 chart, V-shaped recovery. I mean, back-to-back candles here, ripping to new all-time highs. However, I have to caution, the daily chart RSI is in the overbought zone. So again, pullback may be due. Doesn't mean the move is over. Just markets don't go up in a straight line, right? There is some cooling off period, but the bulls are in full control. The MACD on the daily looking incredible here. So I wouldn't be surprised in, as we head later into the month, even to the May, the S&P 500 goes to like 7,500, and then maybe for a big correction. I don't know. At this point, it's pretty crazy with everything that's going on with the macro factors. And, obviously markets are ripping on news of like the Strait of Hormuz being reopened. But that situation is so volatile, it could be closed again in another 2 weeks. So this is where we have to be careful. And if you are looking to take profits, you make sure you follow the news. You make sure you follow the chart signals here to do what you got to do. But overall, it's great to see green and not being a sea of red like we've been in a long, long time. Moving ahead here, folks, the Wall Street Journal today, shout out to Frank Shapiro who highlighted this. On the Wall Street Journal front page, they're talking about the New York Stock Exchange going into crypto. So it says how the New York Stock Exchange went all in on crypto. That is a segment on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. Incredible. So it talks about them going into crypto as well as tokenization. It's just amazing, amazing, man. What's happening? Incredible stuff. Now, big news that came out yesterday, Charles Schwab announced the details for its crypto spot trading product. So Charles Schwab, they hinted that they were going to launch crypto trading this year, and they've officially done that. And they're launching Bitcoin and Ethereum trading. They also highlighted that you're going to get 24/7 support here from professionals by phone and chat and much more. So this is what we've been talking about for a long time. And I've said it many times. These TradFi institutions want to come in and take over the market. So that's why crypto exchanges and native crypto exchanges like Coinbase, Kraken, and others, they better up their game, because Wall Street's coming with the white glove service and all the bells and whistles to make it easy for you. And obviously, they've gone through this many times over with different asset classes. They know what they're doing. And it's amazing to see the names that are setting these things up. This is a top brokerage firm with $12 trillion of assets under management. So they're going to put a lot of their clients' money into this. Incredible on-ramp here. This is just huge, huge news. Here's what Hunter Horsley, founder of Bitwise Asset Management, said about this news. The largest investment firms in the world, Schwab, Fidelity, Morgan Stanley, BlackRock, all now in crypto. Nothing stops this train. So this is why I'm so bullish long term, because you have these major on ramps being set up that we have not had in the past, right? So the pipeline, the on ramps being set up here, and then you get crypto legislation passed, which puts any concerns and risks people may have to bed, right? Because they know, hey, the government's legalizing it. It's totally fine. I could put more money in it. And that, I believe, kicks off the super cycle. That's my thesis, and I'm sticking to it. Now, speaking of Morgan Stanley, yesterday they rang the closing bell of the New York Stock Exchange. But guess what they were there to do? Celebrate the launch of their Bitcoin spot ETF. Incredible, folks. Incredible. The fact that they're there to celebrate the launch of their Bitcoin ETF. Just amazing how times have changed. So if you are bearish now, I know the last bull market was lackluster and there was a variety of reasons. But if you're bearish now, man, I don't know what to say. I am so bullish because I just see the light at the end of the tunnel, and everything that's being built and all these things will culminate to that super cycle. And folks, if you have a long-term view on crypto, you got to check out I Trust Capital. They allow you to invest in crypto via an IRA. And you may say, why would I want to invest via an IRA? Well, you get huge tax benefits. So many of you know you incur capital gains when you sell in a profit, right? Well, you can help mitigate some of that. And not only can you invest in crypto, you can invest in precious metals like gold and silver via the IRA. So with crypto, it's 90 plus assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, all the major assets on the crypto side, as well as stable coins. You get access to stable coins like Ripple RLUSD, as well as Circle USDC. And on the gold and silver side, you're investing in the physical assets, not paper gold and silver. So if you want to redeem the gold and silver, you can do so. Now, the great thing is you can roll over your existing 401k and IRA to iTrust Capital's version, and it's really easy to do that. And you can buy and sell these assets 24/7. It's low fees, no monthly fee. So this is a great option. You get that long-term view, right, on both assets. Do it via the IRA. And we know the US government itself is looking to push crypto into retirement, right? Trump has been trying to do that with 401ks. So you can get ahead of the curve here and position some of your capital in Bitcoin and altcoins and gold and silver if you choose, right? So this is a great option. They also have a great custody solution where you can sleep at night knowing you have the top of the level custody here. So they use institutional grade custody, and it's the likes of Coinbase Prime, which BlackRock uses, Fidelity Digital Assets, as well as Fireblocks. The product is called Premium Custody Account. So check it out, guys. It's a closed loop system. And if someone hacks into your account, they cannot remove anything. So that it's really, really secure and it's low fees. So two great products there you got to check out, guys. You got to check it out. Go to itrustcapital.com/go/thinkingcrypto to learn more. If you sign up with my link, you can get a $100 funding bonus. I have an account with them, so check them out. Link will be in the description. Okay, moving ahead, XRP is live on Solana. I'm sure some of you saw this news. So, what's happening here? Why is XRP on Solana? Well, it's wrapped XRP, so it's a DeFi product. So, it's live on Solana via Hex Trust and Layer Zero. So, they are the ones supporting the launch of this. And Ripple, the folks at Ripple tweeted out, growing demand for XRP is driving liquidity cross-chain, opening new paths across ecosystems and expanding the overall market. So this is great, right? You got the convergence of some of these chains and products, and it's going to be a multi-chain world. There won't be one chain to rule them all. I've said that many times. So I hold both XRP and Solana, and it's great to see these different assets on different blockchains. Now, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse retweeted this news saying demand for XRP keeps growing, more access, more ecosystems, more utility. Okay, moving ahead, Kraken's parent company to acquire CFTC regulated exchange Bitnomial. So major moves by Kraken before they go public. We know they're looking to do an IPO. They just got a major investment from Deutsche Börse, I think $200 million. So Kraken is looking to really compete here against Coinbase, and they are building out their infrastructure and all their offerings. So Payward, the parent company of Kraken Crypto Exchange, announced on Friday that it has entered into a definitive agreement to acquire Bitnomial, a U.S. licensed cryptocurrency and derivatives exchange. The deal values Bitnomial's equity at $20 billion. Bitnomial is the first crypto native exchange in the United States to hold all three regulatory licenses from the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, including exchange, clearinghouse, and brokerage permits, according to Payward's announcement. Here's a quote. Settlement mechanics, margin models, and contract structures define what products can exist and who can access them. The U.S. has had no clearing infrastructure built for digital assets, Arjun Sethi, co-CEO of Payward and Kraken, said. So this is a huge acquisition for Kraken here ahead of them going public. And again, these are signs of a growing, maturing market that is being established, the infrastructure being built out for more capital and adoption of crypto. Now, let's talk Worldcoin. Worldcoin tanks 13% as world's iris scanning tech expands to Zoom and Docusign. Many of you know how I feel about Worldcoin. Very draconian. I don't know what they're doing with the data. They're going to countries and saying, hey, we're going to give you some Worldcoin tokens, but let's scan your iris and we'll have your data on chain. Well, who the hell is auditing that data? Who are they? What are they doing with that data? And obviously, Sam Altman is he's backing this project, right? This is his baby. Are they feeding this into OpenAI? What's happening here? Who's auditing where this data is going? And many governments have been pushing back on this. But it's interesting that they're having they got these partnerships. So Worldcoin fell 13.4% roughly to 28 cents on Friday as World, the identity focused company led by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, unveiled several new integrations for its proof of human stack, which uses iris scanning technology to verify identities. Video conferencing tool Zoom is integrating World's deep face authentication to prevent deepfakes, while electronic signature platform Docusign is adding World's ID verification tech to digital agreements, World said on Friday. Dating app Tinder is also expanding its World ID verification to users. Here's a quote. As AI agents increasingly act on behalf of real people, the infrastructure to provide a human stands behind each agent becomes critical, World said. Now, I agree with the mission there and what they're trying to do and verification, right? There are going to be problems with AI deepfakes and much more. Again, my problem is who is auditing what's happening to this data? You're going around collecting people's biometrics and so forth and scanning the iris and all that. Who is verifying where this data is going? I don't want to put my data into this pool and it's being sold to other markets and all kinds of stuff, right? So this is where we have to be careful. And if anybody knows, what's happening here, if there's a neutral third party that has audited this process, let me know. But this is still, nevertheless, big partnerships for WorldCoin. And I may add some to my portfolio if they're getting this type of adoption. Zoom, DocuSign, I use those platforms, right? So this could be interesting. I'll let you guys know if I do add it, but I for sure I'm not scanning my iris. I don't care how many tokens you're giving me. I'm not going to do that. All right, moving ahead, Russia introduces bill to criminalize unregistered crypto services. Individuals and groups would be required to register with the Bank of Russia before offering certain crypto services or potentially face fines and prison time. Now, the headline, on its face may look like it's FUD or negative, but it's actually good. They're saying we're going to regulate this industry. We're not banning it, just come in and register. And every country is going to do that, right? They're going to establish the crypto legislation. They're going to put the guardrails in place. Their version of the SEC and all the other federal agencies will obviously regulate it. So this is good. They're taking the wild west of crypto and bringing it into TradFi, and they're going to have regulations. So this is actually very good. Now, Singapore Gulf Bank adds stablecoin mint and redeem for 24/7 settlement. Incredible what we are seeing. There are a lot of people out there who still don't understand what blockchain is, what stable coins are, and what the benefits are. And I hope this news, if you are a first-time investor in crypto, you're curious about what's happening here, and you're listening or you're watching this podcast. I hope this is helpful. The biggest institutions in the world are adopting it. They're building financial products. They're building with the technology. They're tokenizing, launching stablecoins, integrating stablecoin payments, and much more. So, Singapore Gulf Bank has introduced a service that lets institutional clients mint and redeem stablecoins directly from their bank accounts using the Solana Layer 1 blockchain network to enable round the clock settlement between fiat and digital assets. Huge news here for Solana. I am a Solana token holder. So the service will initially support Circle USDC transactions above $100,000 and includes temporary fee waivers for minting and redemption on the Solana network, according to SGB's announcement. Additional assets such as Tether's USDT, Athena's USDE, and the Global Dollar Network USDG are expected to follow, the company said. So the new feature is integrated into the bank's internal clearing system, allowing funds to move between on-chain and traditional balances without relying on intermediary banking networks, as GB said. Incredible what's being built, guys. It's so exciting to see this. And look who they're building it for, institutional clients, right? So that's where when we have legislation and clarity in place, it will allow more institutions to participate. Okay, speaking of stablecoins, French finance minister backs euro-pegged stablecoins to compete with the US. The country's finance minister supported the Equivalis initiative launched in 2025 to create a Euro-peg stablecoin under the MiCA framework. So crypto is a global asset class and everybody's in a race. Game theory is playing out here. No one wants to get left behind. And notice how these folks are referencing the United States. We need to catch up. We need to get this in place. We need to have crypto legislation. We need to integrate stablecoins. And obviously, they're going to build stablecoins and tokenize deposits and much more. So, the other thing is too CBDCs. So, this is where, based on where you live, just watch out. What does that CBDC do? Does it take away your rights? Things you need to pay attention to. Okay, final news item. Flow Capital plans to tokenize $150 million of private credit fund via DigiFT. Many of you may recall I interviewed the CEO of DigiFT. This was at the Halburn New York Stock Exchange event, and they are working with many big institutions to tokenize assets. They're kind of like the Asian version of Securitize, right? Securitize works with BlackRock and others to tokenize things. So this is happening across the globe. Again, this is a global movement, global asset class. So Flow Capital Markets is planning to tokenize its private credit fund through a Singapore-based DigiFT, Bloomberg reported Friday, as the Hong Kong credit manager looks to tap blockchain-based distribution for its next capital raise. According to the report, Flow plans to bring its $150 million private credit fund on the blockchain through Singapore-based tokenization platform DigiFT by the end of April, seeking to raise an additional $30 million in tokenized shares by the end of 2026, Jackie Tian, Chief Investment Officer of Flow Capital, said. The $30 million raise is part of the company's plans to expand the size of its fund to $250 million with a target net return of 12%. The fund launched in mid-2025 with $125 million in seed capital, according to the company. So the move adds to a growing push to use tokenization as a distribution channel for traditional credit products. That is where the puck's heading, my friends. I hope you see what's being built here and you have that long-term view, right? The prices are going to be volatile short-term, but long-term, it's higher highs and higher lows. If you zoom out on the chart, guys, you'll see it. So be patient. Obviously, take your position, do your research, right? Don't be emotional about the markets. I'm sure I'm going to see some comments in the comment section that you're an idiot. Bitcoin's not going to 50. Bitcoin's going to 150. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So, but I'm just going to present the scenarios and continue to, monitor the adoption. So, that's the news, folks. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't as yet. Please support the podcast by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free on Substack. Folks, actually, I put out a write-up today, so be sure to check out that write-up. It includes a lot of chart data, and you can take your time reading through it. But again, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free on Substack. Also, grab a copy of my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything you need to know about crypto. And we have a huge sale going on. You can get 50% off the price. Use the code BEAR, BEAR at checkout. So BEAR at checkout to get that 50% off. Go to mycryptocourse.com to learn more. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.